Welcome to your reset with Christian Piano, where the purpose is to support you in releasing all that you are not, so the truth of who you really are can emerge. This is accomplished through working with the body-mind from an ontological perspective. We use various modalities to support you in supporting yourself exactly where you are, so that you may return to an experience of wholeness and ease, moment by moment. Deep reflection is one of the greatest tools through which to do this. To take a moment, to pause, assess, reflect, and literally and figuratively reset, come back to center, and move back into your one and precious life with increased clarity and purpose. Hello, this is Christian Piano, and this week's episode is a reflection on taking one step at a time. There's this beautiful quote by Lao Tzu. He was an ancient Chinese philosopher, and he stated, "A person with outward courage dares to die. A person with inner courage dares to live." And what I love about this quote is that it does take something to live, to move beyond survival, to move beyond habitual patterns, to allow life to flow, to give oneself permission to grow, to move beyond the known and into the unknown. And with that can come all sorts of experiences in the body-mind. And so this reflection on taking one step at a time is multi-layered. As whenever you step out of your known and your habitual, often one can experience fear. When life presents the unexpected, one can often experience overwhelm. And this often can create a space of feeling frozen, not knowing what to do, a desire to escape, a desire to run away, which could be a physical running away. It also could be just cutting yourself off from the world. There's many ways and forms that people go into frozen mode, and it's not that you choose to go into frozen mode. It actually is a state that occurs within your body-mind. It's like there's a freeze state, and it's a place of indecision. So to take this to the level where you can use this reflection for yourself in your own personal life, whether it's the professional domain or the personal domain, take a moment and reflect on, where is it in my life I'm stuck? Or I'm putting something off again and again and again. It could be having a conversation. It could be engaging in a new practice. It could be beginning anything that's something that's new that involves interrupting, or if you'd like, disrupting the usual. And if that doesn't relate or resonate with you, perhaps look at some area of your life where fear is present or overwhelm is present. And what does that feel like in your body? And can you track what occurred shortly before that experience began? Or is it something you seem to be very familiar with that's like lying underneath the surface all the time, which you may not always be aware of, but it's a very familiar experience? You see, whenever it comes to making decisions, often one can remain in limbo. Can be unsure of the decision to make. And often what stops people from making decisions is they want to make the right decision. But what if there's no such thing as the right decision or a wrong decision? In reality, there is no right decision or wrong decision. There's simply just a decision without the judgment of right or wrong. And often, if you can take that on and remove the pressure you put on yourself to want to make the right decision, then it frees up space for you to gain clarity on which decision to make. And once you make a decision, that decision then sets things in motion. And when things begin to be set in motion, then you take things one step at a time. Have you ever heard the phrase from Martin Luther King Jr. that says, "You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just take the first step"? In living, it's important to take steps, baby steps. First steps towards a vision, a goal, a journey, no matter how daunting it may seem. You see, when fear or overwhelm are present, it can be helpful to ask yourself, well, what started it? And look at it straight in the face. If you have not yet listened to the reflection from last week on inner strength, you may want to put this on pause and go over and listen to that episode first, or have a listen after this episode. So if you ask yourself, when did this fear or overwhelm start? And you look at it straight in the face. Then ask yourself the question, okay, but what's necessary right now in this moment? What's needed right now in this moment? Another way of saying that is what step can I take in this moment? Don't worry about the whole staircase, because that will just keep you in the loop of overwhelm, the loop of fear, the loop of unknown. So a question you could ask yourself is, well, is there a project I'm working on that I'm stuck on? Is there a conversation I would like to have with someone, but I keep putting it off? Is there a practice I'd like to begin to engage with, but I stop at the thought of or the idea of it? And often, what stops us from taking that next step is the fear of the outcome of the engagement in the conversation, in the practice, in whatever it is you feel blocked in, whatever it is you feel stuck in. And whenever we're living on top of things that we're not facing head on, then we're living in a state of great tension within, both body and mind, simultaneously. And this kicks our nervous system into survival mode. So going back to Lao Tzu's quote, "A person with outward courage dares to die. A person with inner courage dares to live." So how can you tap into your desire to tap into your inner courage, to dare to live? So the next level of this conversation is multi-layered, and I'll do my best about trying to make it simple and clear. You see, what does all of this have to do with body-mind well-being? Well, to be able to take your next step, you need to create the time and the space to ground into your body. You need to create the time and the space to reflect so that you're not racing through life, busy. Because busyness can be a way of avoiding taking those next steps and just moving through the motions of the daily, of the habitual. So let's think of, well, say I want to begin to create the space and time to be in my body, because that's where reality is. That will ground you into the present moment, because the body is where the present moment is located. And it keeps you in touch with reality. Most of us spend more time in our minds than in our body. And our minds bring us to the past or the future. And when it comes to taking the next step, or even daring to take the next step, whatever that may look like for you, whatever you're dealing with, if we're located in our mind, well, then our mind is attempting to keep you safe. And keeping you safe is not going to bring you into a state of living. Because keeping you safe from the mind's perspective means staying away from the unknown. So we have a bit of a conundrum here. But if you ground in your body, then you're in the present moment. And that is soothing to the nervous system. So often you can find yourself desiring to ground into the body, but feeling like, oh, where do I begin? Well, what if you just started with closing your eyes, wherever you are, and taking a couple of breaths, and purposely shifting your attention from the thoughts reeling in your mind to the breath moving in and out of your nostrils, expanding your lungs, moving from the upper chest deep down into the crevices of your belly and your pelvis. And then what if, after taking a couple of breaths, you decide to stand up and move from side to side? Just begin to swing your limbs and combine the movement of your body with coordinated breaths. And what if you decided to then, from there, roll out your mat? And perhaps lie down or come onto your hands and knees. Come onto your back. Come onto your belly. And explore and play. Being in your body. Purposely shifting your attention from the thoughts in your mind to movement and breath. One step at a time, literally. And as you engage in this, you'll begin to get your energy moving. And as your energy moves within your body-mind, you'll notice the little baby shifts. So you see, you could start off thinking, I don't have the energy. And then as the energy begins to build, you choose the next thing. And then the next thing. You take step by step by step, small baby steps. And then all of a sudden, perhaps 40 minutes has gone by. And you're in awe at how your experience of yourself has shifted. And when your experience of yourself shifts, then your experience of the world shifts and all the circumstances in your life shift. In my Body, Mind, Wellbeing Resource Center, it's called Your Reset, I've created Body Mind sessions that provide you options of when you are going to stop your session. So say you feel like, I don't have the energy or I don't have the time. There'll be an option to stop at 10 minutes or continue. There'll be an option at 20 minutes and or continue. And depending on how long the session is, you'll continually have options to stop or continue. And funny enough, what I'm hearing from most participants is even when they begin saying, oh, I only have 10 minutes, when they have the option to stop, they don't, they continue. And this pleasantly surprises them. There's so many ways to explore the unknown. And if you begin to explore the unknown, taking baby steps in your body, you'll begin to notice that this creates a domino effect of beginning to explore the unknowns, daring to be courageous in the unknowns of your life. They're interrelated and they support one another. And sometimes having a conversation with someone you trust can support you in gaining clarity on where you're feeling stuck, when it started, and what baby steps you can take in reality to begin to move past the stuckness. The idea of beginning a process often stops at an idea. So say you wanted to begin in a deeper conversation around your relationship to yourself, because you're aware of repeated patterns in your life. If you were interested in engaging in conversations with me, well, the first step would be to send an email or a message or to book a free 15-minute consult to explore the idea. That would just be the first step. You move from the idea of it to actually the next baby step of having a conversation. You see, the question to ask oneself is, how is it that I can get myself out of my default modes to move beyond my repeated patterns? And it starts simply with experiences. Seeing yourself in the world around you in a new light often begins with the basic first step of doing new things. That would infer breaking your usual routine in some way. And this supports you in being able to see yourself in a new context. It's a natural way to challenge your assumptions about yourself, about the world, and the people that make up your world. Challenge the assumptions about who you believe you are and what you're capable of. And so many different modalities are available to do this. You can do one, you can do many, you can alternate. The importance is to get out of the routine, the rut of the routine. Routines are good, but they can become habitual and keep us stuck in patterns. So it's a delicate balance. Some people use travel. Some engage in education. Others practicing meditation. Others engage in yoga. And some engage in body-mind well-being practices. What's important to remember is that in taking next steps, if you really, really, really want to break out of patterns, repeating patterns in your life, the key is not just having the experience, but in a way making something of it. You have to actually integrate a new way of being into your life in tangible ways. Getting out of a rut will support you experiencing yourself in new ways. And how do you go about doing this? Well, engaging in new activities, yes. But then if you think about it, what do you even see as choices for yourself? What we see as possibilities in our life and possibilities as choices in our life is greatly determined by where we are coming from, our individual context. So if we don't do the deeper work of getting at where am I coming from? Who do I believe I am? Well, then our options for those choices and those baby steps will be very limited. What will it take for you to break free from that box from which you see that creates habitual choices? What will it take for you to begin to engage in the next layer for yourself of inquiry in body-mind, to dare to live at the next level for you? So, wherever you are, no matter what you're going through, just remember, if you take anything from this episode today, anything at all, if you're stuck, ask yourself the question, what is necessary in this moment, the next baby step I can take to move towards living my life, getting at the next layer? I don't need to see the whole staircase. I can come back to right now, one step at a time. I don't need to make a right decision or a wrong decision, because there is no right or wrong decision in reality. There's only a decision. And once I make that decision, it will set things into motion. Don't worry about the outcome, because in the present moment, you'll take it one step at a time. In the present moment, you will manage. And when you need support, you lean into your supports, those trusted people or person that will simply listen, mirror back, reflect back to you where you're coming from, so that you can choose what's next for you and evolve beyond your repeated patterns. I hope you found this episode supportive, and if there's someone in your life that you think would find it supportive, feel free to pass it on. If you are interested in working with me on any level of body-mind well-being, whether it be through individual body-mind maturation work sessions, perhaps participating in a series, individual privates, or through my video on-demand services, if you have questions, if you would like to engage on any level, feel free to schedule a free 15-minute consult in the appointment section, www.christianepiano.com, or email me directly at growth@christianepiano.com.